All right, we're back. Welcome to the Real Estate Locker Room Show, folks. I'm your host, John Carney, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of this podcast. I know everyone is incredibly busy, and if you're hard at work in 2020, those folks that are fortunate enough to be working seem to be busier than ever. I'm truly grateful for all you return listeners out there, the feedback I get from you, and the comments that come across social media and the reviews online. I'm grateful for all that, and it really is inspiring. Today we are all the way up to episode number 106. As you know, when we hit the 100 milestone, I'm super stoked, and we're going to continue. The next 100 is going to we're just warming up. It was just the warm-up round. If this is your first time listening to the show, great big welcome. We like to explore the intersection of competitive real estate, the business of real estate, which is competitive, and how you can be successful there, and tie into any parallels we see in the business of sports, in the athletes and the stars and what they do to be successful in their game. I refer to real estate as a game, and we're all playing it. So the goal here today is to deliver actionable advice on how you can elevate your real estate game and really raise the bar. And this is going to be a great episode with Ziad, who is, we're going to talk about private equity. We're going to talk about debt service and in high level. We're going to have a high level conversation. So I'll stop talking and welcome to the show, Ziad.
My pleasure.
It's great to see you. All right. So before we get into the story of Blackhawk Partners and what you do every day, I'd like to just warm up and stretch out as you would. Do you have do you play any sports, or are there any athletes that you look to and admire, and you kind of look at how they're successful, and does that play a role in your life at all?
Yeah, I play two major sports. One during the summer, one during the winter. During the summer, I'm a polo player. I'm a handicap 4. So I play polo very intensely. My heroes are people you wouldn't know, because most of the best polo players in the world are Argentinians. They're not Americans. The number out of the top 10, maybe 8 of the 10 are from Argentina. So, but these are my heroes in polo. Polo is a great sport because it's a very complete sport. It's extremely intense, and it's extremely competitive, and it's a lot of fun. I started riding horses at the age of 12. By the age of 18, 20, I went into polo, which is one notch up than just horseback riding. And I've been playing since then. It's been some time. I'm not going to reveal my age. Some time I've been playing polo. So that's one sport. The other one is skiing. I'm talking about extreme skiing. I mean, I go from the helicopter into virgin territory. I do, double black diamonds sports, also extreme sport. I'm an extreme guy. It shows in business. I'm very aggressive, and I play extreme sports. So the golf thing doesn't really entice me. It's too passive. Yeah, maybe it's interesting for some, but for me, it's too passive. Extreme skiing, that's dangerous, and polo can be pretty dangerous too. But that's what I like it. I give it the most. That's how I unwind, by playing extreme sports, polo and skiing.
That's good. Everyone who's tuning in, hopefully training for a sport. I digest my podcast information when I'm running. But here we go. We got a type A personality, and we're going to learn a lot on this show about, let's talk about extreme finance, or talk a little bit about your journey into the real estate sector, how you got started. I think that says a lot. Your pastimes, you're passionate about polo, which I think is pretty neat. I've never seen it live, but I would love to, because you got to control the horse and the ball, right? And it's a team sport.
And the ball, and the horse, and the players, how they play. You have to be all over. And, you know, it's pretty exhausting. I mean, when you play a polo match is around 3-4 hours at least. So it's not just standing 3-4 hours, it's moving every inch of your body for 3-4 hours. So it's pretty exhausting. You have to be in very good shape to do that. The same thing with extreme skiing. I mean, if your legs are not made of steel, you know, you can't go very far, and you're stuck in the mountains somewhere asking for help.
I like it. Well, like you can get into a real flow state skiing, and especially if you're going into challenging terrain, right? So, I mean, the challenge there is to not get.
I mean, before they throw you from the helicopter, you sign for your life. You know, if something happens, just for your information, if something happens, they're not responsible. So this is how extreme it is.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's great. So the, you know, what with sports and real estate, I see a lot. They're both competitive. I suppose skiing, you're kind of competing against the Mother Nature, and polo, you're playing a team sport. Like in what do you when you're that's your downtime. Really, we'll call it on the, you know, very active downtime to relax. And then you know, how does that help you focus and get into the groove when you've got to go out and perform your job? You're a founder of Blackhawk Partners, so you know you've got added responsibility.
I'm the founder. Well, in my downtown, I read a lot. I read like 200 books a year. And most of the books I read, believe it or not, first, I never read fiction. It's all bullshit. What a waste of time. It's a waste of your time reading fiction. I read mostly biographies. I've read like 300 biographies from people from all over the world. Presidents of the United States, business people, philosophers, economists, everything. And you know what? When you read biographies, you learn something from every one of them, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I mean, from Churchill to Hitler to Reagan to Bill Gates to you name it. And you know what? When you do that, it's like you lived 300 lives, not one life. I can meet any circumstance because I've been exposed to so many people, other than real people, the biographies of people, how they would react in a situation like this. Nothing phases me, nothing, because I've read so much about that. You learn immensely from reading those biographies. Try it and you will see. People from the right, people from the left, people who are capitalists, people who are socialists, everything. This is really my downtown. I love reading biographies. So every time I'm looking for stuff like that, because you learn about the human psyche, how these people think. At the end of the day, business is not really knowing stuff about real estate or this and that. Is really understanding people, what makes them tick, because it's all in the negotiation of a deal. You can have the best deal in the world. If you do not negotiate right, you're screwed. It's how you negotiate, and how you negotiate, you really have to understand psychology. I can vet somebody within 2 minutes. And my partners at Blackhawk tell me, my God, it's like you're on steroids. How did you know he's like this? Because I've been exposed to so many people in life, business life, both live and by reading. I know the human nature pretty well. I can detect the bullshit artist in 2 minutes from the real people. I can detect the people I can trust. I can detect the people who lie, who don't lie. This is the ultimate skill you need to have in business, is understand, because it's all about people. It's all about people. It's not how smart you are. It's all about people. For me, John, business is war. For a lot of people, oh, I'm doing business, it's nice. No, 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 no. Business is war. You kill or you die. And you know how you win wars? It's not by being the smartest guy. A lot of smart people out there. A lot of people smarter than me. A lot of people with big balance sheets. even though I have a very big balance sheet. Some of them have much bigger balance sheet. Why do I win and not them? Why do I snatch a deal from them before they even blink? Because business is war, and the way you win is you gather intelligence second to none, is by how you gather your intelligence about the market, about your competitor, about everything. It's all about gathering intelligence. Because once you have the right intelligence, and most of the smartest people in the world sometimes don't have it. I mean, look at even what happened in the US when we went to war in Iraq. You know, $6 trillion lost, 6,000 people, because we acted on the wrong intel. We assumed that the enemy had this. He didn't have it. In business, the same. When you make a decision to buy or to sell or to trade, a lot of people don't have the right intel. They don't do their due diligence. They're very much influenced by this or that. Oh, because Warren Buffett invested in this, or Goldman Sachs invested in that, it must be good. It's all bullshit. Warren Buffett can make mistakes, and Goldman Sachs too. You know, this cult of the personality, of the branding, they built their brand, we have to follow them. It's all bullshit. They don't do their homework. They make investment decisions. It's like they buying some furniture or they buying a new car. Yeah, let's pick up this car, let's do that. Very few people go to that extent of gathering true intelligence.
So you're, let's dig into that. I would agree. And then I would like to understand. So at any level, I suppose, let's bring it down to any level. What are some of the things, like talk really briefly about the deals you do now, like size-wise, you know, dollar amount, and then, you know, give us the secret sauce, you know.
Of course.
Betting,
this is the intent of this.
But then you also have, you've got the deal, but you also have the people involved in the deal. So I bet you can shed some incredible insight on how you read the people behind the deal as well as, you know, the underwriting.
Okay. It's not that I wanted to be in real estate. I didn't start in real estate. I started in finance. At the end of the day, I realized when I started my career, that's back 30 years ago, you either have the money or you have access to the money to be a player. Have to be access to power where the money is, or have it yourself. Then I didn't have neither access to money or the money. So I said, I want to be in the finance and money business. I got my MBA from the Wharton School, summa cum laude. I worked for one of the biggest financiers in the 20th century for 6 years, Michael Milken from Drexel Burnham, selling and trading junk bonds. I understood I learned the capital markets, the finance business, second to none. This is where I started. I want to be in the money business. So when people ask me now, you know, Blackhawk is in so many businesses, not just real estate. Real estate is a small component. But I'll tell you how I got into real estate. We're in the private equity, we're private debt. We can do the whole balance sheet from senior debt, sub debt, preferred, convert, equity. But when I started, really, I wanted to be in this business, in the money business. When people ask me, you're in so many businesses, what business do you really focus on? I don't focus on one business. I'm in one business only. I'm in the wealth creation business. I'm not in the real estate business or in the corporate finance business or in the trading business. No, my job is to be very creative and to work with super smart people to figure out how do you create wealth out of thin air. Whether you're buying, you're selling, you're trading, you're investing, you're divesting, you're turning around, you're flipping. How do you create wealth out of thin air? You have to be very aware of all the different asset classes. We invest in private equity, we invest in Bitcoins, we invest in precious metals, we invest in real estate. We finance these deals as a facilitator, you know, sometimes. So it's all over the place. Most of the Americans are very focused. That's what I do. And sometimes some traders on Wall Street, they spend all their lives focusing on the screen on how the security went up or down. That's bullshit. You know, you don't create wealth like this. You have to be cognizant of the different asset classes, how they work, how they interact. You have to read a lot, be aware of the geopolitical stuff that's happening. I invest, I bet on markets, I do event risk investing. I bet on markets depending where the armies are moving. I look at the deployment of armies in the world when I invest in emerging markets, also part of the investment. I don't want to, you know, be very far from the topic of real estate, but I'm telling you, I will talk about real estate, but this is not just about real estate. If you want to be wealthy, real estate is a very major asset class, major component, but you know, real estate goes up and down. You know, when you specialize in one area, if the market comes against you and that space you are in is down for 5 or 6 years, you're screwed. If you can shift very quickly to another asset class and capitalize on that in creating wealth. So bottom line, it's all about wealth creation. People don't teach you this. People tell you, oh, you have to specialize in this and specialize in that. It's like, it's so funny. I go to a restaurant, I ask the waiter, I want this. Oh, he tells me, oh, it's not my specialty. I'm going to get the other waiter to get this. Unlike if you go to a Lebanese restaurant where the service is nothing in the world. I tell you this, he thought, okay, no problem, I'll get you this. Everybody's so specialized. Everybody's so vulnerable to the vagaries of the market. You have to think differently. Now, so let's come to real estate. Real estate, it's not a question of what I'm buying, what I'm selling. I look at 3 things, most importantly. This is really the essence. Not just real estate, everything, but also specifically real estate. First, I look at the track record of the people, of the operator, the developer, the sponsor, whatever you want to call it. A lot of guys don't have a track record. A lot of guys are brokers trying to position themselves as real estate mavens, or they are architects who never developed anything. Now they wake up, they want to develop something, or whatever. So track record is, for me, is extremely important. Because most of the real estate I do, I don't just invest, I finance. The smallest deal we do is a funding of $50 million, minimum. We don't look at anything underneath that. The largest, there's no largest. The largest deals we've closed is around $4.8 billion. We can do even bigger, but this is what was available. And everything in between. Right now, real estate, we have 33 transactions in the pipeline totaling $11 billion to fund in the next 12 months. All of them vetted. I mean, we have seen like 100 times that amount, that number. And these were now in the pipeline, you know, putting together the machinery. Minimum 50 million, no maximum. We are private equity investors, yes. Alongside the developers, yes. We are lenders also to real estate projects. And we're much more competitive than any bank or any hedge fund because we work with a trading platform. I run a trading platform whereby we can provide 100% financing for your deal. Give you an example. Let's assume you need $100 million. We do, by the way, project finance, real estate development, hotel build outs, you name it. Everything that has to do with finance. What I'm saying is to come back to what I said before, I specialize in finance and I apply the structured finance deals to all the kinds of asset classes. My business is the money business. And when I see an opportunity, I apply my skills there to create value in that asset class, real estate being a major part of it. So I'm not just a real estate guy, I'm a money guy. So to come back to that, you need $100 million for your project. We will finance you the whole $100 million. You don't have to put in any equity. But you have to have a couple of things. So what I was saying before, sorry, I'm a bit over the place. Track record, skin in the game, and I have to like the operator. A lot of obnoxious egomaniacs out there. I don't care how much money they have. I'm not interested in doing business with them. Because when the shit hits the fan, I need to be able to deal with that person. At the end of the day, if I cannot control the operator when he doesn't have the money and control his attitude, his temper, his ego, when he doesn't have the money, I'm not going to control him when he has the money and where he thinks he's going to be God. So it's a lot to do with psychology, not just his project is good or bad. Okay? So track record, skin in the game, and I have to like it. Now to come back to the $100 million deal. So we can finance the whole thing, the whole $100 million. You don't have to put in any equity in the deal. However, you have to show me you have 20% of that amount as a collateral, cash or liquid securities. The money does not come to me. The money stays in your bank account in escrow. You cannot use the money until you pay back your loan, our loan to you. That's pretty much it. That's one way of doing it. Now, if you don't have the collateral, some people have great projects, great track record, great everything, but they don't have the collateral. We will basically place on your balance sheet gold collateral, gold bullion, which is like becomes another asset on your balance sheet. Like you have machinery, receivables, inventory, equipment, etc. You have gold, whereby you bring a lender who will lend against that collateral. In return for the collateral we put in, we take 15 to 20% of your company. So we don't invest cash in your company. We place this gold collateral, which comes back when your loan is paid down. So I can go that in detail. We can talk for hours about this, but I just wanted to give you an idea, Sean, about the kind of structured finance and creativity we create. Nobody does this. No bank understands this. Nobody does this. So it's important for us, if he doesn't have, when we do a real estate deal, the collateral, that the client, the operator who we are interacting with, whether we take an equity piece or we lend him the money, has to have access or relationships with banks. If you have no money and no relationship with banks, you're nobody. You just have a project. It's a pie in the sky. You just have a project that's not going to be funded. And if it's going to be funded, you're going to have to go and wait in line with banks for 9 months to have your project funded. So we circumvent all the banks, all the hedge funds, all the conventional ways of doing business. And we close the deal within 30 to 45 days. But the client or the partner or the developer, whatever you want to call him, has to have what it takes. This is not for everybody. This is, as you say, high stakes finance. This is for people who are very sophisticated, who have made it, and now they want to go from where they are to the moon. This is not for startups. We don't do startups. We don't do guys with nice ideas. We don't do that. They have to have a track record. They have to have made some money. For example, the other day, I was with a client, with a potential client. The guy wanted to raise $1.4 billion for a project in India and Australia. So I asked him, okay, I asked him point blank, what's your net worth? Have you made any money in your life? He told me, no, I worked for this, I worked for that. Zero, that's it, the deal is dead. No matter how big the deal is and how nice, if the guy never made money, he's not gonna make money on my watch. I only deal with people who made money. Even if he lost money, that's fine. You see, my philosophy, if you make $100 million and lose them, you can do it again. If you never made this kind of money, it's unlikely in your life, not when you're 20, but when you're 40 or 50 or even 60. If you never made this kind of money, don't tell me you want to do a $1.4 billion project and you don't have $100,000 in the bank. I don't deal with these kind of people. So it's not just what they teach you in business school. Oh, it has to be like this. It has to be like that. No, 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 no. It's much more than that. You have to dig much deeper. This simple question will save me and save him 1 hour of futile discussion about the project. That's it. You don't have a track record. You never made this kind of money. You have the balls to come and ask me for $1.4 billion. You can't even manage this kind of thing because you never manage. And I asked them, what is the largest project you ever managed? It tells me 20 million. Okay, and now you're going to jump from 20 million to 1.4 billion? I mean, you know, this is ego talking. You know, and by the way, you should get my new book that came out, Sean. You can get it on Amazon. It's called How Ego, Incompetence, and Small Thinking Prevent True Wealth Creation. 90% of the deals fail because of ego, because of incompetence, because of small thinking. And that's the first thing I look at. And once the client passes this, then we can talk business. Then we can talk how we're going to finance it. Then we can talk whether it's debt or equity, how we're going to structure the deal to make it, to really accommodate him. We don't want anyone to fail. We don't want anyone to default on a loan. We're not like the banks. The banks, you know, they come, they charge you fees up front. They do shit. They're not working with you most of the cases. We're working with you because we have equity in your deal. We're partners with you. We want to accommodate you, but you have to have what it takes. This is not charity. It's not like because we're nice guys. Because you want to get the deals done. I think this sheds a lot of information.
Yeah, well, you know what? Here's what's really great. I mean, like, Ziad, is you're high level. You're the top. You're at the top position, right? And your barrier to entry is high, and so you know you've given a ton of information that I think people should really listen to. But now it's like the question I have is you've done it. You've made it. I'm
okay.
sure.
The question is,
but how do you create the track record? Because
how do you get, okay, I get it.
You gotta start like when I talk to people, I realize this because I've been fortunate enough to be in the room with the investment bankers and understand the track record and the balance sheet, but not everybody does. It's about the journey from whether your real estate asset class, whatever it is, you can scale it all infinitely in wherever you are, is my belief, any country in the world. But when you start, the track record in the balance sheet, and like, just because we're lucky to have your time right now in experience,
okay, I'll answer you.
Light on that for us.
Of course, I'll answer you. You asked me first, what do you do? Now I answered you what I did. Now let's talk about that. How do you create that? Well, you know, when I came to this country back in the early 80s, as a legal immigrant, I knew no one, nobody, nothing. I used to walk in the streets of New York City, look at these skyscrapers. Oh my God, it was overwhelming, cultural, etc. So how did I get from there to now, here? Well, it's all about people. I surrounded myself with the right people, the smartest people, the best people. And I did a lot of mistakes. I bumped into a lot of the wrong people. You know, it's not like I decided to do that, I did it. No, it's by trial and error and knowing how to ask the right questions and the right thing. You develop this. You don't push a button and it happens. Overnight success is 15 years. So you have to be realistic. All these young, aggressive guys, you know, in this millennial generation, oh, they're entitled for this, entitled for that, they want to get there. Well, it doesn't happen like this. You're going to encounter a lot of bumps. You're going to encounter a lot of people who are going to try to slow you down. You see, nobody is going to give you power. Nobody is going to give you money. You have to take it by force. Nobody. Nobody relinquishes power or money or contacts. You have to be smart about it and see how you grab it by force. By staying a gentleman, not like, you know, you bully people. No, staying a gentleman, but you have to grab it by force. So to answer your question, it took me years to develop the right network. Your network is your net worth. Forget about what they teach you here and there. It's all bullshit. You can have an analyst who's a Harvard MBA, Wharton MBA. He will do all the fucking numbers for you. Who cares? But you have to deal with the right people, to go to the right events, to read the right books, to socialize with the right people. And it takes a lot of time. You know, you go to people and people don't know how to network. Don't know, honestly. 99% of the people don't know. They go to an event, they have a stack of business cards, they exchange cards, and then they don't follow up. Very few people follow up. So you've wasted your time, you've wasted your money. Sometimes you paid for the event for nothing. The people who succeed are people who follow up all the time. You know, I send a Christmas or New Year's card, not online email bullshit, card to each one of my contacts every year, and some of them have been receiving it for 25 years. This requires special attention. People remember this. When I call them, they pick up my phone. They pick up my line, oh, Ziad, how are you doing, etc. Thank you for your card. This shit they don't teach you, neither in business school, nor in the school of life. They think here, I love the people who call me out of the blue, they connect with me on LinkedIn. Oh, you know, I have a deal for you. So who the fuck are you? I don't even know you. You just connected with me 5 minutes ago. You know what I mean? 5 minutes ago you connect with me, now you have a deal for me? I mean, this is, for me, this is desperation. This is stupidity. You know, most of it, and then you wonder why they don't make it. Of course, they're not going to make it.
Did the guy who wanted the $1.4 billion for Australia and India get into your office?
I'm sorry. Yeah, he came to my office, and he
got a meeting though. I like that story because at least he got a meeting.
I tell you why. He got a meeting because he was introduced to me by a senior investment banker, top-notch Wall Street firm, whom I've known for 20 years.
Okay, I got you.
That's the only reason. If not, he would have never gotten there.
All right. Well, because it's high level. It's high level where you're playing, and you've given everybody a lot of good advice, and it's a great story. Listening to you talk about, and I call it the high level.
I'm sorry to interrupt. At the end of the day, most of the people they tell you we're all equal. We're not all equal. You stupid idiot. We're not born equal. We don't live equal. We don't die equal. These are the people who want to lower your standards. Don't let anyone lower your standard. You have to lift them up. Teach them what I'm sharing with you here. Empowering them, inspiring them, not lower your standard, because so that you feel good and we're all equal. We're all now socialist. Socialist bullshit. This is bullshit. You know, this is it. You have to inspire people, empower them. And when somebody is more successful than you, you don't become jealous of him. You want to use him as a role model. You want to learn from him. I mean, I'll tell you, when I started, I'm gonna teach you a trick. For example, how I fasten the process a lot. So when I wanted to do business in China, I knew nobody in China. So how the hell do I go in China and do that and make an impact in China in the first 6 months, like I am the most important guy in China? How do I get their attention? I don't speak the language and I know nobody. So you know what I did? This is how you have to be creative. Remember, gathering intelligence. So what did I do? So I went ahead, my secretary, get the directory of all the Ivy League colleges, Harvard, Wharton, Stanford, Princeton, Yale, MIT, etc. So go and do me some research as to who are the people, who are the Chinese at all these colleges who graduated there in the last 10 years. She gathered a list of around 2,000 people. I sent invite to all of them. You know, these guys, you know, they're Chinese, but they think like Americans because they were trained at US Ivy League colleges. They know what deadline is. They're all fluent in English. Some of them are even born here. So you already have a lot of things in common with me. I'm an Ivy League graduate. I went to the Wharton School. So, you know, I go there, I told them this, this is another Wharton grad talking to us in China. Yes, I will meet him. The hit rate is not 90%, it's 100% because they want to meet people like me. So when I do but now I know who they are. I know who the target is. Nobody does this kind of work and analysis. Nobody. They're too lazy to do it. They don't think like this. So I had a big event in China at one of the biggest things to produce a new concept or a new business. I had like 2,000 people showing up. I never went to China. He told me, how the hell did you pull this off? People, it takes them 20 years to pull off what I did in 6 months, 20 years, because I don't know how to work, because I don't have intelligence. This is a small example, simple example, because now I know who they are. I know where the target is. I target them with a message they want to hear, and I get their attention. And once I'm there, I can sell anything to anyone. I nail it. And I bring with all my partners, super smart people. I bring translators. I bring people related to Chinese ambassador, everything to go there. And I blow their minds. That's what it is. This is war. It's not, yeah, I'm gonna go do a nice trip in China and meet and greet and have some good food. Screw this. I'm going there to conduct war. I'm General Schwarzkopf. I'm gonna conduct war and I'm gonna win this war. And whatever I say, you're gonna pay attention to what I say.
That's a great networking event. A great way to do some research and put in some, hard work. And
you see, that's a simple example, John. I mean, it's not, but a lot of people, unfortunately, don't think like this. 99% don't think like this. Wouldn't even bother doing anything like that.
So there's a lot of good. I mean, you're giving a lot of good advice on how people can get the track record and go the extra mile, right? All you're saying is do or put in a little bit, go the extra inch. Just go the extra inch, and then those inches accumulate, I suppose, is I think how the saying goes. But
once you do that, you start knowing the right people.
One of the sayings I'm fond of that I talk about, and I didn't coin this phrase, is that success leaves clues. And your success story definitely leaves a lot of clues, for myself and the audience to follow. I'm curious about, like, I kind of wind up and ask all our guests these couple of questions. One is, you're an avid reader. We'll definitely promote your book in the show notes, and you can say that again. But of all the biographies you've read recently, we'll just go with recently. What's one that everyone needs to, get on Amazon and have delivered immediately?
And your question is, sorry, I didn't hear.
Best biography you've read recently that the audience should put at the top of their reading list.
Recently I reread again the biography of Winston Churchill, given it applies to what's happening today with Trump, with the US administration, with the US president. How did Churchill react in those times when England was under siege and when it was really bad? A remarkable guy, remarkable, bigger than life. And there's a lot of common trait, honestly, between Trump and Churchill. Churchill used always to say, never surrender, never surrender, never surrender. Never blink. Never show weakness. Never, all that kind of stuff, which reminds me very much about with all the shit that the president went through right now, he's doing. I really read the biographies based on current events. It's not like there's a series I have to read. I read the biography of Steve Jobs a few times. I read the biography, the largest book of Steve Schwarzman from Blackstone, who built the largest private equity firm in the world, Blackstone, which I hope Blackhawk one day will be close to. So I learned a lot from Steve Schwarzman, who's a quintessential private equity guy. So it's really depending on my mood. It's not like, I have to read this. Depending on my mood. Sometimes it's political, sometimes it's business. I read the biography, I read the book. I kept reading. I read it like a number of times. And that's my biggest fear. It's 1984, George Orwell. The Orwellians, all what's happening today in the States. This is a nightmare. George Orwell predicted this 60 years ago. It's unbelievable how accurate the guy was and how smart and articulate he was. So, once you have something happening today, current affairs, you want to know more. You can't know more from the press. They're activists. It's bullshit. There's nothing right, nothing real. So I go read books about that, about the coronavirus. I read the whole story with the Spanish virus back in 1917, which affected 100 million people. Not like we have today. I know it's a lot, but it was like a disaster. I read the whole story with the Spanish flu. And what I'm afraid is that after the Spanish flu, the Bolsheviks came to power in Russia, which is similarity here, talking about the socialists coming to power in the US after the coronavirus. So you start making comparisons. You start understanding how the world works, history, all that kind of stuff. And the more informed you are in this respect, the better investment decisions you can make. You remember, I make investments based on how armies move, how ideologies fall, how things happen. I mean, I'll tell you, coronavirus, the Dow was at 28,000. I shorted the market till 23. And 23, I started buying and piling up on Bitcoins and precious metals. I don't sit there and say, oh my God, the sky is falling. No, make it an opportunity. You only make money at inflection points like this. Most of my career, I started with like in the early 80s, I told you. I made money in 87 crash, 1990 credit crunch, internet bubble, real estate bubble, 2008 crisis. You don't make money where everything is hanky-panky. The stock market is going to go. No, you don't. You have to have some major disruption when blood is on the streets, when people are panicking, whether you make a bet, whether you go long or short. And that's how you make a killing. But people don't think like this because they live in their little cocoon, in their little thing, and what the politician who knows shit, no matter who he is, tells them, or what the press or the media tells them. Once it becomes news, it's old news. You don't play that. You have to go. You have to be ahead of them. Ahead of them.
I love it. Yeah, that's good advice. One, like, if you could give us one pro tip that someone could focus on, or something that you do on a daily basis that keeps you going. You're a type A personality, ultra competitive, and you've worked your way up, to the top. So, I mean, is that one thing when you look back at the beginning, walking through the streets of New York to where you are now, is there one thing that resonates with you that was like, this is it?
Well, I tell you, if I had to define success in one word, what is success? Success is about empowering people. Sorry.
No,
success is about empowering people. It's about inspiring people. And most people don't look at it like this. Most people look at it, success is having my jet, my Lamborghini, my yacht, my things, my big house, my big mansion. No, this is bullshit. People who got there empowered a lot of people. Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, Larry Ellison, they created companies, empires that empowered a lot of people. That's success. So when you wake up every day, and that's what I do all the time, it's not one company, it's many companies, many projects. You have to think, what am I going to do today to empower a lot of people? What am I going to do?
Okay.
You see, a lot of people think, especially on Wall Street, everybody wants to screw the other. I'm smarter than you. I'm bigger than you. That's wrong. That's wrong. Because they're all making crumbs and playing the same game. Those who arise on top, who go to the above the pack, are the people bigger than life, who empower other people. Look at Mark Zuckerberg. Look at Bill Gates. They said to Harvard, fuck you, I don't need Harvard to create my empire. Dropouts. Oh, Harvard. And all those at Harvard work for them. All those little peons at Harvard, they work for the guys who are like this. They work for Elon Musk. They work for Zuckerberg. They work for the Google guys, Sergey Brin, and they work for all these guys. You see, it's all upside down. So you have to think about how am I going to really empower a lot of people, even though I will piss off a lot of people. A lot of people today are afraid of their image. Oh, I can't. You know what? Because they all want to conform. You're born, you have to conform to what your parents say. You go to school, you conform to your principal. You go to college, you want to be loved by your peers and conform. You get married, you conform to your spouse. Now you're 56 years old, 50 or 60 years old, you've conformed all your life, and your life is gone. You're a douchebag. You don't have any money. You're waiting for your pension. Your life was wasted. The most successful people are the rebel, mavericks, disruptors in politics or business who don't conform, who don't conform to anyone, and who have a resilience like no one, who surround themselves with the smartest people, and who have their own minds. That's not what they teach you anywhere. They teach you the reverse. They want robots, peons, morons to listen to them. All this establishment. This is why Trump is terrorizing them. Who the hell is this guy? Who does he think he is? Why does he behave like this? Why doesn't he conform? They want him to conform. They want all the big players to conform. If you conform in your life, you're going to go nowhere. If you don't have a life with a purpose, wanting to make an impact, you're going to go nowhere. You're going to have a nice, shitty little salary and a nice pension, and that's it. You're done. You've done nothing in your life.
All right.
You have to be a rebel. You have to be a rebel. You have to be a rebel. But you know what? You have to be a rebel with a cause. There's two differences. A rebel without a cause, implodes. A rebel with a cause.
You said something else too that's worth repeating. Is that you have to do it with a smile on your face and be courteous and be a gentleman. I got it. I love it. This has been a real great conversation, Ziad. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to share this story with the audience. Now, where can people find you? If someone on this show is interested in learning more about Blackhawk or connecting with you, how can they actually do that?
Absolutely. The Blackhawk website is www.blackhawkpartners.com. Then you can find my books. I have two books, Economic Warfare and Startup Saboteurs. You can find them on Amazon. You just type my name on Amazon and you'll get both of them.
Fantastic. We'll make sure that those links are also in the show notes. So there you have it, folks. I really, truly hope you've been inspired and are thinking things through and picked up some actionable advice from our guest today, Mr. Ziad Abdelnour, right? Yep. Did I get that right? And make sure to check out the Real Estate Locker Room show on iTunes. Now, just so you know, since we're into the hundreds of this episode, we are giving away 100 copies of 10,000 miles to the American dream. And this is your copy right here. This one's going directly to your office. But in order to do that, all you have to do is go to your favorite podcasting platform, leave us a review, and then message me your review. Take a screenshot. You can DM it. All of those links on how to reach me are in the show notes as well. So that's the currency of online, allowing other people to connect with this show in other real estate content that is provided through the Real Estate Locker Room Show, to help raise the bar in that competitive arena of real estate, sports, and business. The post-game report show notes I mentioned, links and other useful content, direct links to Ziad's books will be on my website. It's johncarneyonline.com/podcast EP106. And while you're there, if you're so inclined, drop your email address into our sign-up form. And then a rare occasion, I will send you something only if I feel that it is super useful for you. So remember to stay focused on your goals, have fun, and stay in the game. Until next time, I'm your host, John Carney. To work hard, play hard, and raise the bar. And one more time, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story with us, Ziad.
No problem, John. Stay here for a second when you're done.
Okay.